Welcome back. We are now ready to start learning our stitch. So this stitch is called Peyote stitch, and it kind of looks like stacking bricks together. The first thing that you want to do is pick a color. It doesn't matter what color since we're just learning right now. And you'll pick up, it depends on how thick you want your piece to be. For this project, we are going to be making one that is eight beads. So you'll pick up 8 beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you just want to count them just to be sure. So yeah, I've got 8. And slide them all the way down. So here you're going to see the benefit of having your stopper bead is that it won't let the beads go down, and you'll need this extra bit of thread in the end, so this just keeps it nice and tight there without damaging the thread or knotting up the thread that we'll then need later. Okay, so now that you have your 8 beads, you'll wrap. Okay, so hand placement. So you'll want to grab at the end the beads right here, and just kind of wrap the string around your finger so you can kind of hold it down. This is going to take some time for you to be able to stabilize these beads, but you'll get the hang of it. Okay, let's do a little zoom in so that you can really see what I'm doing here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to be picking up one more bead. Actually, I am going to do an opposite color so that you can really see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go for a gold bead, and my next step, so here's the tail, here's the end of my thread with my bead stopper, and this part of the thread is where my needle is coming out from. So I'm going to go back down the opposite way and skip. So I'm not going through this one, I'm going to skip my first bead and go in through my second bead like so. And pull your needle all the way out until something like that happens. If you did not get something like this, maybe you got something like that, or it looks a little wonky, just pull a little, play with your beads a little bit, just kind of move them around, and they should sit on top of each other like so. So I'll show you what I have here. It kind of looks like a T on the top. Okay, so next step is let's take another gold bead. So I'm going to encourage you to take 2 different colors here so you can really see what's going on. If you're using just one color, this might be very difficult. All right, so my thread is coming out of this bead here, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to skip this bead, and we're going to go down through that next bead. Oops, that happens sometimes. Okay, pull all the way through. And sometimes you will have to play around with it a little bit to get it to really get in there. And don't be afraid to pull on your thread so that all your beads align. You don't want any loose thread in there. It's okay if your beads are loose here. It's actually better if they are a little loose here so that you have some wiggle room. But up here, you really want a nice strong base for your ring. All right, so we're going to pick up one more gold bead. And you guessed it, same thing. We're going to skip this bead and go in through this second bead. Keep poking myself, but that's okay. It just comes with the territory. All right, so that one didn't quite go in, so I'm pulling a little bit harder, playing around with it, pulling the thread. Just making sure they line up really nicely. All right, so we still have 2 more beads. So our last bead is going to be another gold bead. And again, skip one, put it through the last bead. Pull, really pull that thread really tight. Just make sure everything is nice and aligned. Okay, perfect. So this is now your foundation for peyote stitch. Congratulations, this is the first step. And this is really the hardest part about this whole process. So if you need to review, feel free to pause here and go back and try again. You will get this, but it just takes a little bit of practice and patience. Next step is building the length of our ring. We've got the thickness here. And let me just put this up to my finger so that you can kind of see how thick this is going to be. So it's a pretty thick ring, but it's a nice size. I really enjoy this 8-bead ring. All right, I've added a third color, this really beautiful cream color. And the reason why I'm adding a third color is not because only because I want you to be able to see how this grows. Okay, so we've got our foundation here, and we're gonna pick up one of the cream beads, just one. And our threads are, okay, so this is where our stopper bead thread is, and this is where our needle thread is. So just grab the needle thread, pull it a little tight if you've got some slack there, and you're going to put your needle through. Okay, so you'll see that these gold beads created a bit of a bump. Like there's a space in between each of the gold beads, even the end one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our needles through each of those cylinder beads that is sticking out. So the beads are really, in a way, talking to us. They're telling us, okay, every bead that is sticking out, that's where you want to put your needle through. So we're going to put our needle through this one. Great. Pull. Okay. Now pick up another one of your third color. Run it through. Another one. Another bead, run it through that bead that's sticking out there. Like so. And they should really just pop into place. If they don't, just wiggle them around and pull your thread tight. I'm picking up one more bead to complete my row here, and I'm putting my needle through that last gold bead that is sticking out. Okay, this is really exciting. It's actually looking really cool, and I really love this color combo. Okay, so we are going to go back down. So really what we're doing is we're just going back and forth and back and forth, and we're going to continue like this until we've reached the end of our project. So I'm going to keep working, and feel free to continue with me, or you can skip on to the next step. I'm going to provide some nice working music so that you can really get into it, but keep following along. If you have any problems, just press pause and go back, or just keep watching my technique and see how I do it. So by now, you should be a little more comfortable with the peyote stitch technique. However, check in with yourself. How are you feeling? If you need a little more practice, continue on with our pattern. If not, let's dive right into the intuitive base design. This is my favorite way of designing because it is magical, it's surprising, and it allows you to let go of any plans and just let the design create itself. How amazing is that? Okay, if you are not so into intuitive based design and want to move on to something more planned or paper based design, that is okay. However, a word of caution, this is a more advanced technique. So it's advanced because you need to pay attention to where you are in your pattern, you need to pay attention to your technique, and also to your bead color choice. So I highly, highly, highly recommend starting with the intuitive based design, see how you like it, and if not, then move on to paper-based design. You can do both. All right, so choose your own adventure, and I will see you in the next lesson.